All right, when we name ionic compounds, we're going to see that they have two names, a first name and last name essentially. The first name is always the cation, which is typically the metal. And the cation, when we name the cation, we notice that the name of the ion is the same as the name of the element. So in our example, we have Mg, which we know is the symbol for magnesium, and therefore the cation name is also magnesium. So we write that down. And now we're looking at the last name, the anion. This is typically the non-metal. And what we do is we are going to use the root of the element, but we're going to change the ending. So the ending will always end in IDE. So bromine becomes bromide. And in our example here, chlorine becomes chloride. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we focus on the root, which is this piece, but we're going to change the ending to IDE. So all of our anions will end in IDE for our simple ionic compounds. When we look down at our next example, we see parentheses, and that should immediately trigger you to look at the back of your periodic table. Parentheses means it's a polyatomic ion. It's going to end in something other than IDE when you look at the name. Usually, it's ate or ite, although there are like 3 or 4 examples of IDEs, like cyanide, for example. But for the most part, they're ates or ites. But all we have to do when we're naming these is look at the back of our periodic table. So we look at for NH4, and we see that NH4 listed on the back of our periodic table is ammonium. So we write out the word ammonium. And that is our first name. And then we have the S. We know that S is sulfur. We also know that we need it to end in IDE. So we write down the root part, and then instead of writing UR, we're going to write IDE so that it ends in IDE. And that's how we're going to name these ionic compounds. We'll get to practice writing more names during class.